Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online VGC 17 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Anyway, I decided to give this team one final hoorah. Seems like most of the comments in yesterday's episode said, yeah, we do want to see you hit 1900 with this team, so I'm going to give it one last attempt in this episode. We were really close yesterday, and I thought we might have gotten it from the last game, but fortunately we only got, I think it was like 2 points or so, so that was a little bit unfortunate. So let's see if we can hit 1900 in this one. We are only 3 points away, and it's been a really fun run with the team, as I mentioned. And yeah, thank you guys for watching and for supporting Road to Rank. We're going to find an 18-14 opponent from Japan, so a win here will put us in the 1900s, and I will be switching teams, pretty shortly. Gavin Michael has agreed to let me use his team, and he did win the San Jose Regional Championship, so he's trading that team over to me later today, and I'll be featuring that starting in the next episode. I'd really love to get to the 1900s, I really don't want to lose this game. I'll try my best, and if we do hit it, yeah, I'm going to just switch up to Gavin's team, but I will be doing a team analysis on this. It'll be up later this week. If you haven't seen the Tapu Koko analysis that I uploaded yesterday, definitely check that out as well. So, my opponent here has a team of Gengar, Kartana, Tapu Lele, Arachnid, Arcanine, and Goodra. So, couple of notable things. Rain's not bad here, but Goodra is definitely a pretty big threat because it's super bulky and almost always has Assault Vest. So as a result, I probably need to go with Lele and Metagross. But that does make Kartana a pretty potent threat on my opponent's team. I'm still tempted to lead with Rain, just because I can pressure Tailwind, and Golduck still pressures everything that's not named Goodra. And I can't really safely lead Lele Metagross, because of the Kartana and the Gengar on my opponent's side. So I'm going to go Pelipper, Golduck, Lele Metagross, I think. Coco's kind of tempting here, just because it's fast, but that's not really a good enough reason. And Kartana is definitely a little bit tempting. But I'm going to lock in here, and we'll see how this goes. The issue with Kartana is also Gengar just outspeeds it, so I'm not the biggest fan of it. So this is it. This is for 1900s. Let's see if we can do it. It's not the end of the world if we lose. Then we'll just try to push the 1900s with Gavin's team. But we've had a really good run with this team thus far on Road to Rank, and I feel like it'd be an appropriate end. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As always, please do leave a like if you do. And we are going to get into this one. And we see the Gengar Goodra lead. Okay. So yeah, that's why I couldn't safely lead Lele Metagross or even Kartana because of that Gengar, which is definitely a nuisance, but that's fine. So I am definitely going to... So here's the thing, I want to set up Tailwind, but Gengar could be... And it probably has the Focus Sash here, because no other Pokemon on that team would really carry Sash. But could have Trick Room, especially with Arachnid on the team. I don't think that's likely, but it could. So I think I do want to get up a Tailwind, because if he doesn't have Trick Room, and Trick Room on it is pretty uncommon, then I'll have a pretty good advantage going into the next couple turns, because then I can CB Zen Headbutt the Goodra. And I'm just going to Hydro Vortex Gengar in case he protects, to break a potential Sash. No Switch Outs or Protects coming out here turn 1, so I'm just going to get this Hydro Vortex off. Goodra is a pretty major problem, but the thing is Choice Band Zen Headbutt under Psychic Terrain just picks up the one-hit knockout, so that's kind of the setup I'm going for right now. So here's Hydro Vortex coming out. If it's not Sashed, then I'll be in a really good position, but it's really gotta be Sashed given all the other Pokemon on the team composition. So, yep, there we go. And there's a Sash, as expected. Curse Body comes out, disabling Hydro Vortex, that's fine. Oh, the Taunt actually comes out. That's bad. We see a Thunderbolt coming out as well. I don't think this will knock me out. Yeah, I survive. No paralysis, okay. That's definitely a nuisance, though. I was not expecting Taunt. I could have capitalized there by just knocking out Gengar. So now the question is whether Gengar is going to protect or not, because it very well could. If it protects, I could protect Golduck, but he could also just target into Pelipper. I think I do want to just attack Gengar here, so I'm going to Hurricane, because I could go for a Confusion chance and Scald into Gengar. Okay, no Protect, that's good. So I knock out Gengar. Goodra's probably going to get a Thunderbolt off here. Unless I somehow manage to land a confusion, which would be nice. But knocking out Gengar is a big deal because now my Metagross and my Tapu Lele have a better time. And, is that not Assault Vested? Okay, so Thunderbolt comes out and just knocks out Golduck, but that's fine. Because that did less damage than I expected, or more damage than I expected. So who do I want to bring in right now? Let me think. Leaning towards Metagross. Yeah, I'm gonna bring in Metagross, because now I pressure Goodra immediately. There is a potential Arcanine in the back, though. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna bring in Lele, yeah. Get the Psychic Terrain going. Kartana comes in, okay. So Metagross would have been better. Okay, that's fine, though. Yeah, I'm gonna go for the Hurricane here, and I'm going to switch out into Metagross. Yeah, I wish I switched in Metagross, because I could have just Hurricane Earthquake, and I would have been in a really solid position, but not giving up yet. Smart Strike comes out. Okay, good. That's good. Because we'll probably see a Thunderbolt go into the Pelipper slot, but at least I will probably... This is probably a Assault Vest Kartana. Ooh, I get the confusion. That's juicy. And we do just see another Thunderbolt come out. Yep. Targeting Pelipper. Not too much of a surprise from that turn. Taunt wears off, so I can protect now, which is also good. Who could the last one be? Regardless of who the last one is, Metagross and Lele have a pretty optimal matchup against it. So the question now is, do I want to protect Pelipper? Because Kartana could just target down my Metagross slot. Protect, like, Zen Headbutt. I actually want to protect Earthquake. But he could double up into that slot. But if I do Earthquake, I'll lock myself into it. Okay, I'm Protect Earthquaking. Kartana's also confused. Let's see. Hit itself in confusion. That would be so good. Oh, it does! Nice. So I get this Banded Earthquake off. That's still gonna do a very good amount to Goodra. Yeah, and we pick up the knockout onto Kartana. Okay, I don't know who Kartana was targeting there, but I was really fearing, and Thunderbolt comes out. Yep, does target down Metagross. No paralysis. Excellent. So I don't know whether it was a double up into Metagross there or not, but I feel like if you're the Kartana, you really want that boost. And Lele is going to be the last one. That's also really good to see. Okay. I don't know if, like, unless Lele has Shadow Ball, that's the one thing I'm fearing. I've got full HP Lele in the back. Hurricane probably actually just knocks out Goodra. Given how much it did earlier. So I'm actually just going to Hurricane Earthquake here. Yeah. I don't want to switch out right now. Okay, Lele just goes for the Dazzling Gleam. That's fine. Because Earthquake here should just knock out Goodra and should do like 75% to Lele. Nice. Ooh, I think we've got this one. I did get a little bit lucky with the confusion hit, though, on Kartana. I don't know who would have targeted. Like, if it targets a Pelipper slot, then it doesn't make a difference. But if it does have a way to, like, for example, Night Slash onto Metagross, that could have been bad. But I played my odds there. Okay, so now it's my Lele and my Metagross against his Lele. And I'm just going to sub-EQ here. Yeah, there's no reason. Like, I have to Earthquake myself right now because I'm banded. And my opponent forfeits. Oh, we did it! We did it, we did it, we did it, we did it. Nice. The team reached 1900. Good job, guys. I'm proud of you. I think I'm actually just going to make this a one-game episode because my main goal was to reach the 1900s. But yeah, sure, let's save that one. Why not? I haven't actually saved the video in a long time. I actually don't even know how saving battles in this gen works. Like, I think. Oh no, sorry. It's just I was thinking for a moment, but like in previous or like in the last game, you could save like up to 100. So I don't know how many exactly you could save there, but oof, we did it. We did it. I don't know. I kind of want to play one more, but I also kind of want to just honor the glory that is the 1900s. So if I had Gavin's team, I totally would just switch up teams. But yeah, my main goal, I don't know, I just wanted to give this team justice and reach the 1900s, and we were able to pull it off. So I guess I'll make this like a mini episode or whatever. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And yeah, a team analysis for this team up will be up pretty soon. I had a really solid run up here since I came back from San Jose. And yeah, I'm really proud of the team, and I'm pretty happy about how I played. There were some pretty rough games for sure, and some suboptimal plays that I was making, but it's all learning experience in the end of the day. So let's just see what rating it ends up being. Like probably like 19, yeah, almost 1910. Pretty sweet. Nice. So that's going to be it. This is kind of a mini episode, I guess, but I just wanted to reach the 1900s with this team. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As always, leave a like if you did, and stay tuned for the team analysis. I will be back with Gavin's team as well shortly. So yeah, we'll be switching to a brand new team in the next episode, and we'll see how high we can go up with that team. But that's going to conclude this episode, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, peace. Hey guys, so I was just kidding about ending the video. I decided that I would actually add a little bit because I didn't want to spoil people from the length of this video. Obviously, you've watched it already. I mean, you watched the battle at this point, you've seen that I've won, but for those that are looking at the video length, I didn't want to just, you know, make it look like there was one game because then it'd be kind of obvious that I won, most likely. So I decided I actually wanted to do something a little bit different and add a kind of post-game analysis because I did save this battle video, and after the battle, I gave it some thought and I was like, man, I made some pretty bad plays in that game actually, and I might have been bailed out by RNG, so I was actually very upset at myself for how I played. Like at the moment I was just excited because I won the game, but there were a bunch of plays that I think I could have played significantly better. So I am just gonna kind of play the video over again, or play the replay, and talk about some of the plays that I think could have been improved on. So immediately in team preview, the first thing in a best of one setting that I could have guessed was that Arcanine and Arachnid weren't going to come out from my opponent's team, and that could have assisted me a little bit better because that was something that I was a little bit scared of later on in the game when I contemplated what Pokemon to switch into. So yeah, let's just go into the battle, and I'm gonna go turn by turn and talk about whether, you know, this was the best play possible or whether this was just kind of an error and there was a better play there. Because, you know, you don't have to make perfect plays every game to win in VGC, but you really want to, and it's definitely really difficult, especially when, you know, it's kind of the spur of the moment kind of thing and you only have 45 seconds to make your move. But it's always really good to analyze your games afterwards and learn from them. So I felt pretty comfortable with the Pelipper Golduck lead. I felt like that was the right call because I did need to eliminate the threats to Tapu Lele and Metagross, and Gengar was by far the biggest one. So I was okay seeing Gengar Goodra lead here, and turn one I went for the Hydro Vortex and the Tailwind. I don't mind my play too much there because I know the Hydro Vortex covers the Protect option, and I know that if I do get the Tailwind up, then I'm in a major advantage. Taunt from Gengar was not something I was anticipating too much, but I knew that it was kind of, you know, reactionary. Like, oh, even if he gets the Taunt off, it's not the end of the world. Like, I'll still be faster with Golduck. So I do manage to bring Gengar down to its Sash. Curse Body comes out, but that doesn't really matter. And Taunt is a big deal because it denies Tailwind. If I get Tailwind up, I feel like I have a very good chance of just kind of sweeping through with my team. So that definitely caught me off guard. Goodra does get the Thunderbolt off as well. That's something to be expected, but Golduck is, you know, it's not like the tankiest of Pokemon, but it can take the hits. So this next one I decided to just gamble and go for the Scald into Gengar, expecting it to not Protect, and that is the case. Sometimes it's even hard for Gengar to carry Protect, so I decided it was just worth Scalding that slot. And I get the Hurricane off, so this was pretty much ideal in terms of, you know, best possible play, and no confusion coming out, but that Hurricane damage indicates to me maybe he's not Assault Vested, and that makes me imply like maybe Kartana is actually Assault Vested instead, because, you know, AV Goodra normally just tanks attacks really well. So this was actually a pretty key misplay. I bring in my Tapu Lele, but Metagross was 100% the better call here. The reason why I brought in Lele was because I was really scared of Arcanine, and Arcanine's a pretty big threat to Metagross because it can burn me and use Fire-type attacks, but the rain is still up at this point, so there's little reason to bring in Lele, and it's very unlikely my opponent even brings in Arcanine because I do have the double rain or the dual Water-type lead. So I really should have gone with my two Water-type Pokemon. or sorry, I really should have switched to Metagross there, because if I do switch in Metagross, then I just get the free Hurricane Earthquake kind of turn off, because I still have my Focus Sash here with my Pelipper. So that was one of the big misplays, and I regretted it immediately when I switched in Lele. I don't know why. I was like, oh, I feel like Arcanine or Arachnid couldn't come in, and Lele has a good matchup. But the thing is, Lele doesn't even have its Z Crystal at that point. So that was a really key misplay, and I think that if I just switched to Metagross, I would have had such a huge advantage. And then this next turn was a misplay as well. I actually protected with Pelipper, but there's very little reason to. Instead, I should have just Hurricaned and Earthquake, because at this point, I know like Cortana is Assault Vested based off that Hurricane damage, and if it's Assault Vested, it most likely has Night Slash, so it's very likely my opponent's going to want to double up into my Metagross knowing how big of a threat it is. Instead, if Cortana does get the knockout onto Pelipper, that's fine, because that means I don't take damage from the Cortana onto my Metagross, and that means Metagross only takes Thunderbolt damage. So I think my opponent most likely, honestly, went for the attack there onto Metagross with a Night Slash, if it is carrying it, because it was the Assault Vest variant. So, given the circumstances, I really should have just switched to Metagross, and I really should have attacked with Pelipper there, because if Pelipper Hurricanes, then I just get a double knockout, and even if Cortana targets down Metagross, then, I'll have Pelipper, Metagross, and Lele against my opponent's Lele, and at that point, my chances of winning are pretty good. I can even switch out Metagross and try to stall out the Psychic Terrain. Instead, Cortana did hit itself in confusion, so I kind of got bailed out there, because it's hard to say, like, maybe my opponent targeted down Pelipper, but the best play for my opponent was definitely to target down that Metagross, and it was just a complete oversight at that point. Like, I think I played those 2 turns just really poorly, and RNG might have bailed me out, but I could have just won that game very cleanly without any RNG. So, in retrospect, the 2 major mistakes I made this game were bringing in Tapu Lele instead of bringing in Metagross. On the turn, I had the free switch in. And the thing is, like, worst case scenario, Arcanine comes in. But Arcanine at that point cannot knock me out with any Fire-type attacks because I do have Rain covering the Metagross slot. So, I don't have to really worry about that. I've already knocked out Gengar, which was the biggest threat. And the last Pokemon that my opponent could have is the Arachnid or the Lele. And both of those Metagross can check. With Arachnid, I can just switch into my Tapu Lele and go for the Zen Headbutt for the one-hit KO. With Lele, I can just Meteor Mash. So there was no reason not to bring in Metagross pretty much at that point, and Lele switching in was a very key mistake, and because I lost a lot of momentum from that, it forced the switch out, and fortunately I got a little bit fortunate because my opponent targeted down the Lele slot with a Smart Strike instead of the Pelipper slot with a, for example, Leaf Blade, but that was just a really bad oversight on my end. And then the next turn, there's no reason to protect Pelipper. Like, during the battle, I was like, oh, I'm really afraid of a Beast Boost, but the thing is, Earthquake knocks it out, knocks out the Cortana in that range anyway. I think the one thing I was fearing is I wasn't sure whether Cortana would be able to hang on with the sliver of HP or not, because it did take that confusion hit, and I don't know if that extra damage mattered, because I was contemplating Zen Headbutting there instead of going for the Earthquake, but yeah, I wasn't sure exactly how, physically bulky that Cortana was. But regardless, I should have Earthquake there, and the way it plays out is, let's say Cortana does go for a Night Slash onto Metagross, then Earthquake plus Hurricane just knocks out the Goodra and Cortana Feint, so it's a double knockout, and I have Pelipper, Metagross, and Lele. If Cortana targets down the Pelipper slot with an attack, then I still will get the Earthquake off, and that means Cortana feints, and of course, yeah, Goodra hangs around, but that's fine, because the next turn, it's 90 plus HP Metagross with full HP Tapu Lele against my opponent's Tapu Lele and Goodra, and in that case, I also win the game. So, protecting Pelipper, bad oversight on my end. I was afraid of a Beast Boost that didn't matter, and it was just a pretty bad misplay. So, overall, I actually played that game really poorly, and a little bit upset at myself because, I had a pretty good team matchup. Like, I think the matchup was more in my favor, even though my opponent had Goodra, and once I eliminated Gengar, I basically had all the tools to win that battle, but instead, I made just 2 really bad decisions, and part of that was me not checking team preview, like, well enough and thinking about what to switch in, and that's why I actually write down my opponent's Pokemon when it comes to actual VGC tournaments, because sometimes, you might just forget, and of course, you can check your opponent's team now in the actual game, but during team preview, or sorry, when you're switching Pokemon out, I don't think you could have that ability to check it, so if I clearly thought things through, I would have seen, okay, the Pokemon that my opponent can have in the back are Cortana, Lele, Arachnid, and Arcanine. Arachnid and Arcanine, probably not even in this game. And, I should have deducted, it was pretty obvious that Cortana had Assault Vest because Goodra didn't have it and Gengar had the Sash. So, like, the only other possible item at that point would really be Assault Vest. So that was something, I figured out obviously after the Hurricane, but I should have just been assuming that immediately. And I was like, oh, maybe he doesn't even have Night Slash, but if it's Assault Vest variant, like, it most likely does carry that Night Slash. And so if I just switched into Metagross immediately, then Hurricane Earthquake knocks out Kartana, whereas it can't do anything in return. I guess we could have seen a Night Slash and a Thunderbolt target onto the Metagross, which would have made the game a little bit more interesting, but then the thing is, Goodra's still in Hurricane KO range, and I would still have my Focus Sash, so all I have to do the next turn is basically go for a Hurricane Moonblast, or maybe even a Tailwind Moonblast. Actually, Tailwind Moonblast is probably the better play, but either way, yeah, I've been rambling on for this point, but there were two major mistakes, and I won the game, but it could have, like, once again, I don't know what my opponent's Kartana did, but I presume it was a Night Slash onto Metagross. That would have been worst case scenario, and if that was the case, then I actually would have lost the game most likely, and so I could have, I had an early advantage, and I really could have snowballed a lot better. And the two main mistakes, like bringing in Lele instead of Metagross, and not going for the Protect on Pelipper, because there was no reason to protect that turn. There's not really much, like, worst case scenario, I don't know. Like, there's really little mileage from protecting there, because I don't mind if I get knocked out there. And I guess one thing I was fearing that I didn't really mention was, oh, if Pelipper gets knocked out, then I'll be forced to kind of Earthquake my Tapu Lele, and at that point, I didn't know what my opponent's last Pokemon was, but just considering the risk versus reward at that point, I think it would have been fine Earthquaking myself, and because I do have sub on Lele, like, I can just go sub Earthquake safely, especially given my opponent's team composition in the back. There wasn't very much, like, Lele outspeeds everything, and Metagross outspeeds the Arachnid. My opponent's Lele can't do too much to it, and if it's Arcanine, then Earthquake plus Psychic just knocks it out anyway, so yeah, that's kind of my post-game analysis, and I, included this obviously because there was only one game in today's episode, and after I finished the game, like, I went up, got some water, and I was like, wow, I played that really poorly, actually. I didn't realize it even at the moment, but those two plays were just pretty big misplays, and so it's always good to reflect on your battles and look on what plays you can do better, and, sometimes people get very caught up in, oh, I won the game, like, that's great, but there's always something you can do better. Like, very few VGC matches can you come out and be like, oh, I played every turn perfectly, and this was the case, and, you should always aim to win VGC matches without any RNG. Like, if you win by RNG, then, and if that RNG actually mattered, then there's probably a play or two that you could have done better, and this definitely was the case, and who knows, maybe my opponent's Kartana didn't target down that Metagross slot, maybe I would have been fine either way, but I could have been in a position where I didn't even have to worry about any potential, like, plays from my opponent, and I could have just had, like, a very, very good advantage to the point where my opponent couldn't have done anything. So that's basically it for my analysis. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and thank you for watching. And yeah, I'm really hyped that we did reach the 1900s, but it wasn't the cleanest of games, and those two misplays were pretty bad misplays, honestly. So a little bit disappointed in myself, but the only thing you can really do from it is learn from it, and I hope you guys find this little segment helpful. So that is going to be it for the San Jose Rain team. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This time it will actually be a final goodbye, and stay tuned because team analysis will be going up on it. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode of Road to Ranked with a brand new team. Alright, peace for real.